Hello. Welcome to the Cordog Experience. Here talking Ohio State's college sports and everything in between. So if you're feeling what you're hearing, please hit that like button. Help a brother grow this thing out. That's it. Let's jump into it. Ohio State hosting Rutgers. Ohio State big favorite coming to this game. Ohio State did what they're supposed to do against this type of team. And they did it. And they did it without Carnell Tate, without Jeremiah Smith, good portion without Mylan Graham. I mean, all their receivers hurt, all of them. Oh, but they got off to a slow start. Nice opening drive. Had to fumble by the goal line by Mr. Jackson. But when it's all said and done, 42-9. Dominant performance by a team. But did they even play good? Did they play good? They got off to the slow start. First half, just 14 points, and 14 points. 14-3, whatever it was, the halftime score, just sluggish. I don't know. Were they looking ahead? We all know what's coming up next week. So going into halftime, Ryan Day must have said, I can imagine what that halftime was like, because they came out and they pretty much suffocated Rutgers the rest of the game, again to the tune of 42-9. And was all said and done, they only punted twice. And was all said and done, the rushing yards was over 200 again, second consecutive week. And I don't care who the opponent is. We've been asking for this. We're going to see something out of the running game. It was a poor run defense, and the team delivered. They delivered for the most part. Again, they say you got stuffed on that on the first drive. It led to the fumble. But all in all, when it was with all said and done, over 200 yards rushing. Mr. Jackson, I believe, had over nearly 7 yards. Nearly 7 yards per carry. The 2 TDs. James Peoples, he gets in the end zone again in the fourth quarter there. An explosive run. He's looking really, really good. And this is the time of year to start doing that. Just building that running back depth. And it's nice to see James Peoples come around. CJ Donaldson got in end zone again. So the running it's coming. It's coming. The offensive line, I think, made some strides throughout the course of the game. Anytime you run for over 200 yards, I don't care who the opponent is, you're doing something right. Julian saying, you don't have Carnell Tate, you don't have Jeremiah Smith, you're going to affect your offense. I don't care who the quarterback is. My only question about this, we hear all this stuff about this great Ohio State wide receiver room depth. Now, I know there was no Quincy Porter. He didn't play. There were reports that Mylan Graham was going to get the start, but when it was all said and done, he didn't. It was with Adolph and Bryson Rogers, who I didn't even see Bryson Rogers that much throughout the game, with a lot of Adolph was in there, but I didn't see, and Adolph had a critical drop, killed one of our drives, was right there. He just didn't make the catch. But where are our other receivers? We got more than just Graham and Porter, unless they're purposely holding those guys out, trying to preserve a red shirt. I don't know, or just the option was to go with some of the seniors. I believe Adolph is a senior, but Bryson didn't even play that much. And so when it became evident those guys weren't going to play, you knew who was going to step up. I was looking forward to him stepping up, and he stepped up. Max Clare, and I'm gonna keep, and I said this way back when he announced he was coming here. I believe Max Clare was probably the most underrated transfer portal thing that just didn't that didn't get talked about enough. And I thought they've underutilized him all year long, and that's even with Carnell Tate, even with Jeremiah Smith. I was always thinking Max Clare should get some more run. He's not being utilized enough. So if those two guys down, I was expecting Max Clare to have a big day, and Max Clare had a big day. He showed you what he could probably do on a game on a daily basis in game time situations if he had the opportunity to do so, because he did it all season long at Purdue. When he was the focal point, you couldn't stop him. Today against Rutgers, he became the focal point, and they couldn't stop him. Max Clare, 7 reception out of 8 targets. I think the only one he didn't catch was maybe one of the more poorly thrown balls by Julian Sayin, but other than that, he caught 7 balls, over 100 yards on the day, and of course he had the one touchdown. So again, making do with what you got available to you. Ohio State again Ohio State does that once again. You're missing Carnell Tate, you're missing Jeremiah Smith, limited usage from Mylan Graham, limited usage from Bryson Rogers, Brandon Ennis. They bottled him up, and Greg Schiano, let's face it, he's a good defensive coordinator. He was there for Ohio State. Greg Schiano, if anything, is a good defensive coordinator. I think he made adjustments after Ohio State's first drive when Ohio State just pretty much ran down the rushed the ball down the field. He made some adjustments, and the rushing game was stagnant for a good portion of the rest of that first half there. After Schiano made just adjustments, didn't seem like he was as concerned about the wide receivers, or Ohio State just wasn't going to him as much as I thought they could have. Like I said, they utilized Max Clare or not, but utilized Max Clare a lot more, and he became the focal point of the passing offense. I wish we would have got the ball to Brandon Ennis a little bit more, but again, it's hard to nitpick when at the end of the day you score 42 points. And a lot of that was set up by, again, the defense and just the dominating, suffocating defense. They had the strip sack, a couple of stops on 4th down by the defense that led to short fields. Caden Curry, I thought that was a touchdown. He rolled game of inches, y'all. Game of inches. But I thought he rolled his way into the end zone. I thought the ball did break the plane, but Ohio State did get the score. But the defense stepped up in that first half, and Rutgers, to my surprise, they were able to move the ball. An area for concern, given how Michigan likes to run the ball. So, Rutgers was able to get a little bit going on the ground. Again, in that first half, I think coming out in the second half, the defense just totally suffocated them. They either were minus yards at the tail end of the third quarter, or just barely had, and were in the plus category in terms of yardage for the Rutgers offense. So again, the defense just made life miserable for the Rutgers offense. They did get in, scored, based primarily against the backups, but they scored. But Rutgers was able to move the ball a little bit on the ground. So, given how Team Up North likes to run the ball, hopefully they will shore that up a little bit. But all in all, good day for the Buckeyes. Got out of there with minimal injuries. Got the rest up Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith's son. And again, they still put up 42 points. And when they really didn't look all that good for the first half, because they had the fumble. Rutgers was able to get some drives going, and I don't want to say they were sluggish, but they didn't look as crisp as you would wanted them to look in that first half. Again, second half, totally different story. They came out and dominated. I believe they scored on nearly every possession in the second half. So, number one team against this type of opponent. At the end of the day, 42-9 dominating performance. Y'all know what week it is now. They got through senior day. Be missing some bodies going into next season. It's nice to see the seniors go out with a win. But yeah, it's on to Michigan. It's Michigan week, and that's going to be a game. Hopefully Jeremiah and Carnell will be back. Hopefully we will see hopefully our offensive line is ready, because Michigan is going to be tough to run against, and hopefully Jeremiah and Carnell will be back. We might even see more Max Clare. You might see even more of Max Clare, because I think if Carnell and Jeremiah do play, I think this is the type of game that someone like a Max Clare can really have a big game. And I also like seeing the Lincoln package. I thought we were going to see it more, and we might even see it more in that Michigan game, especially in short yardage situations. I think he just gives another element in those situations, and he was on display somewhat, putting stuff into people's minds. Just because when Lincoln comes in, he may not necessarily run the ball, he had the option to throw it as well. So I think that was a nice little wrinkle. We got to see a little bit more of it this game with Lincoln in there, because he was in there in the first half as well. Some packages they brought him in, so he's just not going to be coming in on mop-up duty. I think they are setting it up. Some of these short yardage situations, we'll be seeing a little bit more of Lincoln in those type of packages, and I think that just, again, real dynamic. He had a really good run there, I believe, in that second half. So it's going to be interesting to see how Ryan Day approaches this as we head into next week. But first thing first, they had to get out this game, stay healthy, no big injuries, and they did all of that, and they still dominated despite the sluggish start. I ain't got to say nothing else, y'all. Y'all know what week it is. OHIO, go Bucks. I'm out.